Tony Galbraith's my name from Central Muscle Car. I've been asked to talk to you a little bit about how we manage our tyres over a race meeting. Perfect world, we all have new tyres every race, but that's not allowed. They made some rules to stop that. So we're trying to manage the heat of the tyres. So what would happen on a day like, we've got a very fine day here in Manfield, the track's hot and it's good weather, we will get anything up to 12 pounds growth from when a tyre goes out on the track from cold till when we actually come in at the end of it. And that's too much, because then the tyre's gone past its desired pressure at the top end, but we can't start with them too low, otherwise they'll fall off the rim when they're cold. So we just have to sort of manage that a wee bit, so it's quite good to get a run on a tyre before we actually go into a race. There's a few indicators on the tyres. They've got some you probably can't see it, but they've got a couple of spots here you can see the wear indicators on them. So we sort of look at that to see whether the tyre's wearing evenly across. And obviously the more even means they've got more tyre on the ground. Common sense, if it's all on one side, that's not necessarily a good thing. So yeah, we pressure them up quite low. We probably start somewhere around the just over 20 pounds as a rule. Somewhere between 21 to 25, depends on the temperature of the day, and we're aiming for about 30 pounds, give or take, at the end of a session. Tyres will only do so many heat cycles, so you start with a new tyre, you can overheat them quite quickly, so it pays to give them a bit of running in. I mean, the perfect world is start with a new tyre, give it half a dozen laps, take it off, put it aside for the next day, it'll be a better tyre. Unfortunately, because we're only allowed a limited number of tyres, we can't quite do that as well. But yeah, so it's not an exact science. There's a lot of people know lots more about it than I do, but we just know that if we cycle the tyres through, heat is the enemy. So if we've got a tyre that's really hot, we take it off and try and put something else in for a time being, give it a chance to just settle down. And we hear stories that 24 hours is a good time frame. We don't have the luxury to do that sort of thing always, so we just accept what it is. But yeah, it is something we have to manage. When the tyres get really hot, they really expand, they're very, very slippery. They're very slippery at that point. So as you see the race going on, the cars start slipping around the place. That's more likely that the tyre pressures is starting to get a bit hot, and that's why they're slippery. Not necessarily the cars going off, it'll be more likely the tyres. Most of the heat for a tyre, funnily enough, comes from the brake on the inside. As much as heat comes from the track, it comes from the internal oops, sorry, got a dirty tyre, but in the back, because you've got brakes in there. The brakes can be anything up to 1100 degrees if you're getting a bit carried away, but we try and keep them around 800 degrees. It'd be nice. But that creates a lot of heat that transfers through the rim as well. So that goes to the tyre. So there's a lot of things against it, but heat is the enemy. It's the enemy for gearboxes, engines, tyres, everything. Driver overheats sometimes. Small insight, but yeah, we have to cycle them because they just get too hot, and once they're finished, you can't bring them back. They'll go. You can run them another week, and they will come. When they reheat, they actually go good, but then they get to a point, and then they're gone, and they just can't do anything with them. And they're junk.